An educated and united public cannot be controlled. Get organized. Learn to be
Why didn't they fact check Kamala then? I ain't gonna lie, that one is a pretty good critique, because Kamala, she wasn't all the way truthful throughout the debate either. I think it was a lot fewer. But I think that the things that Trump said was so egregious that they had to. And one of the critiques that they had from the previous debate was that no one was fact checked. That came out in the media really heavy. And they were like, y'all should have fact checked them people. Your journalist integrity is not there. So I think that they were under pressure to do that. And then when Trump was saying this over the top, ridiculous stuff, they just had to jump in there and be like, wait, there's no evidence to support what you're saying, sir, Mr. President. Speaking of fact checking, so this is New York Times. It says, in Springfield, they're eating the dogs. Everybody knows the quote at this point. It says, there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community. A Springfield, Ohio city spokeswoman said this week, despite viral social media posts promoted by Trump and his supporters. So this is a fact check clip. It says, over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy. Misleading. The current administration has facilitated a burst of private investments because of tax credits and other incentives included in the Inflation Reduction Act passed in 2022. According to the Clean Investment Monitor, which tracks investments, clean energy investment since 2021 has totaled roughly $700 billion. Some experts expect the clean energy incentives to eventually help drive more than $1 trillion in private investment. So this one is a fact check of Kamala Harris, where she said $1 trillion in clean energy economy, and they're saying that it's probably more likely around $700 billion. Well, with that, you could say she was kind of just fudged the numbers a bit. This one, it says, now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. Needs context. It says, Trump is referring to Harris' response to a 2019 American Civil Liberties Union questionnaire, in which she said she supported using taxpayer funds to give access to gender-affirming care to transgender or non-binary people, including those in immigration detention and prison. A Harris campaign spokesperson said, that questionnaire is not what she is proposing or running on. So it's like kind of true there. So it says needs context, but kind of true. Yeah, let's move on. So Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. That's so hard to read. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Needs context. Harris is correct that Trump warned of a bloodbath if he did not win the 2024 election, but Trump has contended that he was speaking about the economic bloodbath and was focused on competition from Chinese electric vehicles. I think that's one of those situations where you have to be careful what you say, because, you need to be really, really clear when you're on the national stage. Like, again, leading to people doing bomb threats in Ohio. The people maybe didn't hear all of the rest of the context of what he said. Just like, it's going to be depending on the election, it's going to be a bloodbath. And it's like, when you're saying those two close together, And the United States we're a powder keg, bro. We're just waiting for a spark, bro. And so words like that can be a spark. We don't need that. So you want to be more careful about how you talk. This one, it says, I had nothing to do with January 6th. False, straight up. It says, Trump and his allies spread lies for months about vast fraud that they falsely claimed stole the 2020 election from him. His supporters then organized a large rally near the White House designed to pressure Congress to overturn his loss. Trump encouraged the crowd to attend, promising it would be wild. And it's so crazy how people are still going on about this thing without acknowledging the reality of the situation. January 6th was the day that they certify the election, like officially certify the election. And those people went to the Capitol to disrupt that process, bro. Like, there's what it was. Like, there's no argument, bro. Like, that's what happened. Okay. And they was spurred on by the comments of Donald Trump. That now they have made January 6th one of the highest security, like it's a date that they have designated as a high security date. So basically, they're probably not going to let nobody get within a mile of the Capitol on January 6th this time, because they have designated it as, a high security risk now. So, chances of trying to get in there and disrupt that process is mute now. You're not going to be able to you're probably not going to even be able to get close to that building on January 6th. Look it up. You don't believe me. New York Times, the economy, immigration, January 6th, abortion, and more. We fact-checked Kamala Harris and Donald Trump as they met for the first and possibly only presidential debate on Tuesday night. They disagreed fiercely on a range of issues as Harris flashed her prosecutorial skills to get under the former president's skin, and Trump found himself in a defensive crouch, relitigating his record rather than picking apart hers. I think she did him in. She did a number on him. Let's read this one. It says, as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world for the first time this century. So needs context. No U.S. troops are fighting in an all-out war like the ones in Iraq and Afghanistan, but thousands of American troops have become entangled in hostilities around the Middle East since October 7th Hamas attack. Yeah, so that was a comment that Kamala made, and then it's like, that needs context. Yeah. And them talking about the Middle East, I'm sure there's a lot more than that. It says, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that, and then I'll read that, and she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. These quotes are hard to read. False. It's unclear what Trump read, but Harris has always identified as a black and a South Asian during her time in public office. At Howard, a historically black university, Harris joined a sorority for black women and was president of a black student association in law school. It makes me think about that clip that I played earlier. I might play that again. This one, it says, Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. False. So these are fact-checking Kamala right here. Unemployment spiked to its worst level since the Great Depression in the pandemic recession of 2020, but it was 6.4% the month Trump left office. That's nowhere near worst rate since the Depression. So she was exaggerating to the point of misleading, to the point of lie, telling an untruth there. It says, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. Needs context. Project 2025, a set of conservative policy proposals resembled by a Washington think tank for a Republican presidential administration, does not directly come from Trump or his campaign. Still, CNN documented that 140 people who worked for the Trump administration had a role in Project 2025. Some were top advisors to Trump in his first term, and are all but certain to step into prominent posts should he win a second term. So, I mean, they might be stretching by saying that these people are going to be in prominent positions if Trump wins a second term, because they don't know who's going to be in prominent positions if Trump was to win. But at the same time, Trump's saying that I don't know anything. He's being honest when he says I don't have anything to do with it. But it's like all of those people were people that were really close to you that came up with this stuff. And a lot of this stuff is going to benefit you if you were to win. So it's politically wise to distance yourself from this stuff. But at the same time, it's dishonest to, like, I don't have anything to do with that. That's their thing. They're doing that over there. It's like, bro, these are your people that are really close to you and your administration that's doing this stuff. So, like, you don't ever have conversations with them. You don't have coffee. You don't have tea. You don't ever have lunch. Exchanging emails, texts, none of that. Comments, it says, so we're not going to post the part where he said Democrats kill babies, that mothers are giving birth, putting the babies aside, and then deciding what to do with them. Like, that part right there really, really, really kind of got me upset, like, that is all the way over the top ridiculous. There's nothing like that happening nowhere. People are getting abortions in the 9th month and after birth. Like, come on, bro. Like, how can you possibly say those words out of your mouth, man? You believe that stuff is actually happening? Like, I don't think Trump really believes it. I think that he says stuff like that to incite people, to incite his base or whatever, to get people going. It's emotional. It's sensational, I don't think that he really believes that that's happening, I really don't, I want to believe that he's smarter than that, but he knows what works, and that's dishonest. There's integrity. There's a character issue there. Comments, it says, I've been an NYT reader since 1980. I've canceled my NYT subscription. The attempt to so-called balance stories merely engenders a false equivalency. Worse, it undermines the public's ability to rely on reporting, which would seem to me to be the opposite of the intended effect here. The NYT could just say Trump lies, which would be accurate. Instead, Trump is given leeway. The word lies is never used, and Harris is criticized for statements that are not demonstrably false. The NYT is no longer the standard that it once was. I've also deleted my RSS feed. It kind of depends on your perspective. I think that the New York Times, they want their readers to read their articles. So Trump has a huge fan base, and they don't want to just turn those people off, from the start or from the jump. They want them to read their articles too. It's a lot of people out there, and they want as many people as they can to read their articles. So they're going to be soft sometimes to help get more people to read their stories. So I wouldn't be so harsh on them like that. It's a business at the end of the day. Comments, he said Dems wants to kill babies in the 9th month and after birth born. That's the worst lie of all the debate. Yeah, I'm surprised that that one isn't the one that went viral. It's the freaking Haitian eating pets thing. Another comment. The fact you ensured an equal number of fact checks is disingenuous. Trump lied far more and more egregiously. Kamala largely kept honest, although may have leveraged facts in an incomplete way to have equal sides for both is infuriating. See, that's kind of like what the guy was just saying on the talking about the new, you know, canceling his subscription to the New York Times. Again, like I say, I think it's, you can read it for yourself and come to conclusions on your own. Needs more context versus straight up false and misleading. So the ones that was straight up false, I think what it said, Kamala only had one that was straight up false. The other ones were needed context and misleading. So, and then Trump had 3 that was straight up false on here. So again, I mean, I don't know, if you want a perfect balance in things, you need to go watch a cartoon or something.
News 4's Andrew Schiff is at City Hall right now with what else the mayor had to say.